Hello, it is Maximus MMA here with my UFC Fight Night Bilal Muhammad against Gabriel Bonfim reaction. This went down last night where we saw the pick of the week come through with a victory in Gabriel Bonfim. I did actually end up predicting him to win by second or third round KO, and honestly, I thought we were kind of robbed of that result potentially. Obviously, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but I believe it was the third round, and Bonfim landed a nice combination, and Bilal Muhammad's mouthpiece went flying out, and then Herb Dean decided we're going to let him put it back in. I thought they were going to let Bonfim at least throw a combination against a cage, but anyways, that's here nor there. Still a great call on my part. And yeah, Bonfim, as expected, just was a little bit too fast twitch, man. Like, you really just saw the difference in athleticism here, and Bilal Muhammad was not able to get the grappling going at all. And, he just was a step behind in the feet. Now, did Bilal Muhammad look washed? No, I thought Bilal Muhammad looked, he looked fine. But, he is 36 years old now, I believe, and, it's just a new guy's time. So, Bonfim here should probably enter the top five. Another, one of these guys at welterweight that is very big for the division. Um, you know, who does he fight next? I kind of like the idea of Morales. I think let the Brazilians fight. Well, actually, Morales is not Brazilian, but so scratch that. But right, I think that's a good matchup. Get two of these big guys in the division fight each other. Let's see who's the best out of them. And then the winner could look towards the title shot. Assuming that we can get Machado, Gary, and Makachev in the cage soon, and hopefully the winner there can make a relatively quick turnaround against Carlos Prates. So Bonfim probably a win or two away from the title shot now, but good win for him. Then in the co-main event, looks like it was the fight of night. We did have Brendan Allen against Edmund Shabazian, and I did pick Brendan Allen in this fight. I was a little worrisome just because Brendan Allen, you really never know what you're going to get, right? He sometimes can be content to lose a decision, but this was a decision that he ended up winning, and he was really winning it from pillar to post. I know a lot of people were giving Edmund Shabazian the first round. I believe one judge also did, but second and third round, Allen was just pressuring forward and landing the more damaging shots relatively consistently. Not a bad performance by Edmund Shabazian, as I talked about in my preview video. Huge step up in competition, so losing to a guy like Brendan Allen, right? Edmund is only 28 years old. It's a chance to build. He took some damage, but it wasn't anything too dangerous. So good win for Brendan Allen. Called out Strawn Strickland for a rematch in the post-fight interview. He's not getting that fight. Imavov should be next. I would look for Allen to probably fight either Fluffy or actually he already lost to Fluffy too, so he's kind of in a weird spot. I don't know, dude. It's actually kind of tough. So I guess I won't get into that. But Brendan Allen, I think he's at a point where you kind of sit around and wait for just a little bit and see how things play out. But he definitely deserves a fight that's title eliminator. It's time for Brendan Allen. Then we had a wrong prediction here. I did pick Freziam to win this fight, and Tom Nolan, he was definitely slept on, man. I mean, Tom Nolan came in there, and it was a very chaotic fight. A lot of back and forth, and just Tom Nolan came out on top. Both guys, made some low IQ decisions, losing positions, chasing subs, but at the end of the day, Tom Nolan does win a back and forth decision here. For Ziam, not the end of the world, right? He gets knocked right outside the top 15. As for what's next for him, probably some sort of, fringe top 20 matchup. That name, of course, slips my mind at this moment. And then Tom Nolan, he steps in the top 15. And, do I think he's ever going to win the belt? No. But, he's a good fighter and he's gritty. And he proved that here. And it's a really good win against Ziam. So good for Tom Nolan. And I was wrong on that prediction. So good for him. And then right before that, we did have Bryce Mitchell taking the win against Santiago Luna and then dropping a nice Bible verse for us after. As expected, he ended up getting the sub in the last 8 seconds, it appears. Just kind of as expected. You just saw the experience of Mitchell take over very early on in the fight because Santiago Luna, there was some sort of grappling exchange, and Santiago Luna, despite being supposedly such a great wrestler and all this, just 2-3 years Arkansas, forget, man. Okay, don't sleep on Bryce Mitchell's grappling. Once he learned he could get to dominant position, that was the beginning of the end, right? I mean, it really was. And good win for Bryce. Hopefully he gets a new contract. The finish was big for him. And good win for Bryce. But not the most entertaining. But him getting the finish, that's big for him. And then Right before that, honestly, performance of the night for Io Baranowski is kind of wild. Obviously, they're trying to build him, so I'm not trying to, hey, like, let the man get his bread, right? But man, Junior Tafa, dude, what an embarrassing performance. I mean, he goes out there and takes about 2 leg kicks and then just proceeds to quit. I mean, so again, like, it just sucks. Didn't even land a punch. I mean, that's crazy, man. And the thing about Baranowski, I was really hoping to get some clarity as to, like, who he is as a prospect, but again, we didn't get that. I mean, he just blew through Tafa like he was nothing, and Tafa is kind of nothing in the UFC. I mean, he's no, he's nobody. I mean, he's a name, but is he a real serious threat? Obviously not. I mean, he's 7-6 now in his pro career, so I don't know. Keep on throwing Baranowski up the ranks. But man, like, what a terrible performance for Tafa. There's just not much to talk about because this fight, like, nothing happened. Like, literally nothing happened. I mean, Tafa literally got kicked in the leg 2 times and spun around and then covers up and then Baranowski goes do do do. So I mean, hey, the UFC gets their highlight, right? They can show that ground and pound. Hey, mission success for Baranowski. But move him up the ranks, man. One of the most exciting prospects in UFC, definitely. Then to the last prelim of the night, as expected. Matt Schnell, the second that he gets hit clean, just goes face first. Kind of a weird stoppage because he did pop right back up, but the fight was stopped, right? Costa wasn't fighting at that point. So, like, he did end up on top of Costa, but, like, I think that's because Costa literally was like this on the ground, like, hey, buddy, like, fight's over, bro. I already chinned you. Matt Schnell needs to retire. I mean, for his own health, go teach MMA, bro. Costa, again, it's just one of those things where similar to Tafa and Baranowski, like, it's just hard for me to hype up Costa. Like, I mean, if you're anybody in the UFC, like I said in the preview video, you're going to KO Matt Schnell. So he passed the Matt Schnell test. He might be somebody in the UFC now, but that remains to be seen. Give him a step up in competition and somebody who can take a punch. Because clearly Costa is pretty powerful. I mean, you can see it in his physique. He's very quick, fast twitch, and he could end up being exciting. So I like his style. Then we had a big mismatch on paper, but it turned out to be a pretty competitive fight here with Marcus McGee and John Giannis. Marcus McGee was just a step ahead, a lot of very dynamic spinning kicks and things of that nature. Really just the better athlete, right? I mean, you could quickly see that in the footwork. I believe Dominic Cruz was talking about it on the commentary. So good win for Marcus McGee, but realistically he had no business fighting John Giannis. I mean, to go from Piotr Jan, the champion, to John Giannis is kind of crazy, right? I really don't know why this fight was made, but good win for Marcus McGee regardless. Give him a guy in the top 10, right? Let's give him a real fight, give him a chance to fight back towards that title. He probably needs two or three wins, but let's see it happen. Plus, like I said, he's like 36. I think I said in the preview video, so he's not getting any younger. Let's get him back in there soon before the end of the year, and see if he can make a real title run. Because at the very least, he's an exciting fighter. People like that striking style. Let's show it more often. And then we've got John Giannis, who honestly made a good account for himself. A lot of people thought he was just going to get blown out of there. I know the X's reaction was like, hey, how did Marcus McGee not finish John Giannis? And I think John Giannis was game. Like, so good for him. But definitely give him a big step down the rankings, right? Give him a guy, that he can beat. I mean, nobody thought he was going to beat Marcus McGee, and it was very apparent early on. Like, John Giannis did land some bombs, though, but just didn't have the power to KO a guy like Marcus McGee, who's clearly coming in shape. I mean, and has never shown an issue with his chin to my memory here. Then we had Bruno Silva against Edgar Chairez. This was a wrong pick for me here. I did pick Bruno Silva, but Bruno Silva just got chinned, man. And he got chinned, and club and sub here for Chairez. Great performance by Chairez. Climb up the ranks here for sure. But kind of a tit for tat battle. Bruno Silva just started to have a little bit of problem with that jab, right? And I knew that he was susceptible to that, but I really didn't think his chin was going to get cracked the way it did, even though we've seen him get dropped before, like by Cody Durnan and Joshua Van, obviously multiple times. So I guess the writing was more on the wall than I thought, but, I wanted to believe in Bruno Silva as a guy who could be a mainstay amongst the top at flyweight, but, excuse me. But, at the end of the day, right, just not a great performance from him, loses in the first round. Chairez, I think a good fight for him. What was Bruno Silva ranked, man? Like, was he in the top 10? I think he was right about like 8 or 9, maybe 10. So if that's the case, I say give Chairez Charles Johnson. I like that fight. I think that'd be a good striking matchup. I think, and the winner of that gets a shot in the top 5. I think that's where you go next. Bruno Silva, he's getting older. Realistically, he's never going to touch the belt. So, give him some fun matchups. But realistically, I mean, what is there really to talk about with Bruno Silva, to be honest? It's unfortunate, but it's true. And then we had an incorrect prediction again here. Granted, women's fight, so I don't put too much weight into my picks here. But yeah, Priscilla Cachoeira, kind of comes forward with reckless abandon, no real head movement. She's just tough, right? She's a tough girl, and that's why I picked her. I picked her because she looks more masculine. And Chelsea Chandler, I will say, did look good on the back foot in the sense that she was throwing very hard, and that kind of surprised me. Like, I thought there might be a chance where Chelsea Chandler would just kind of cover up. And honestly, after the first minute, it looked like that. Cachoeira put her on her butt. I think she like caught a kick, or Chelsea Chandler slipped, something of that nature. And that was an opportunity for Chandler to be like, okay, I'm just gonna accept bottom position here and lose. But got right back up to her feet and was throwing hard, with her back against the cage, and ended up catching Cachoeira and then winning via club and sub. So good win for Chelsea Chandler. Do I think that she has any real future in the division? No, but it's women's MMA, so anything can happen. Yeah, but Cachoeira clearly just going nowhere in this division. Before that, another great call here. Joanderson Brito, simply just too much. Jordan Levitt's, look, he's grappler bust. He didn't want to stand on the feet for a second with Brito. And because of that, he was shooting some really risky takedowns, and that was the end. I mean, he shot kind of a very obvious takedown. Joanderson Brito was comfortable in there. He could tell, okay, this guy can't strangle me. He was doing a good job in the clinch against the cage, just kind of keeping his feet. And there was a slight worry maybe for a second, like, okay, is Brito going to gas out? But we didn't even get that far. And obviously Levitt could have gassed out too. Very tough to hold a guy against cage like that. But, yeah, very nice submission. Snatched it up real quick and nasty. So good for Brito. Really excited for him. Get him a finish in the UFC again. Get him back to that winning way. And, yeah, I mean, he's an exciting fighter. So let's push him up the ranks here. Maybe give him a guy, in the 30 to 20 range, and make it a fun fight. Don't give him a grappler though. Let's see a striker. For Jordan Levitt, I mean, dude, like, I don't know, UFC BJJ, right? Like, come on, dude. He's not a cage fighter. Like, respectfully, he's not a cage fighter. He's a grappler. Fight to your strengths, man, because this is not for you. And then before that, we did have two ladies' fights, but we'll start with Hailey Chavez against Eunice Dubin. Chavez did start to gas out towards the end, and again, these odds are very wide. Minus 400 in a women's fight for somebody who's making their debut, I believe, is obviously nutty, but Dubin did seem like, the Shannon Clark one was kind of lightning in a bottle. It was a decision split, but, just not a whole lot going on here. I mean, a lot of takedowns, right? A lot of women-style grappling when they're both kind of, exhausted. Dubin did have some nice slams in the third round and clearly outstruck her, but with those ground and pound strikes. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't too tapped in here, but the fight went exactly how I thought it would be. It's kind of back and forth, women's rolling around on the ground decision, and Chavez got the better of it, so good for her. Dubin, I don't know, like, give these girls more low level competition. They're not ready for the big leagues yet. And then lastly, we'll start off the card. We had Ketlin Souza against Ariana Carnelosi. Ketlin Souza, perfect prediction. Actually, in my video I put out, I predicted Ketlin Souza to win by KO. I said she was so due, but the audio cut out. So it kind of sucks on that. But yeah, I just saw somebody in Ariana who, was willing to quit. And Ketlin Souza was due for a knockout. And nice head kick into a little combination. And yeah, that's all she wrote. So good finish for Souza. Climb up the ranks. She's actually one of the few women in MMA that is exciting. In this fringe, lower half of the rankings. So good for her. And yeah, really looking for. Actually, again, literally one of the only women I'm looking forward to the future in the UFC that's barely ranked or unranked. So good win overall. Decent card. 9-3. On my predictions, and Gabriel Bonfim, the pick of the night, did come through. Close as an underdog, supposedly. I know he's a pick'em, largely, but yeah, so great card. Honestly, pretty fun. But we've got the big one on Sunday, UFC Freedom 250. I'll be putting out a prediction video for that, and then likely recapping it. So, looking forward to seeing you guys again. And if you're new, like, comment, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it, because I'm going to be dropping a lot more MMA content as the days go by.